What's going on, guys? Welcome back to week 12 of the greatest podcast on turf. For this week's exclusive segment, we got part 2 of free agency breakdown. Be sure to check out the last free agency breakdown for, the guys that we don't mention here.
Yup. Got the Eagles on today, man. Sco Birds, baby. Best team in the league. We're going back to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, Travis Fulgham, Jason Kelsey, Darius Slay, and Jalen Reagor are going to carry us back to the Super Bowl. Sco Birds, baby. Need a Super Bowl parade part 2. We're going to be in Philly partying, the greatest podcast on turf. But yeah, on a more serious note, free agency part 2. Link in the description of the full podcast. This week we broke down the NFC West. We didn't touch on most of the free agents that got signed from that division here because we touched on it on the podcast. So if you want to hear them guys, go tune in the podcast. Link in the description. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, keep showing us love. You ready?
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
So to start us off, we got my Dallas Cowboys. They made a move. They stayed patient.
Birds, baby.
They brought in Keanu Neal on a 1-year deal, $5 million. I like the move. I think we needed safety help. We're not going to keep him in safety. We're going to bring him in a linebacker, which I think we also needed help with there. Also got bringing in Malik Hooker and KZ just for, meetings. Not signed them yet.
Hooker, I like him a lot.
But I like the defensive moves. I want to build up on defense. I like the cheap money that we got him, so I think it's a good move.
I like the signing. He's a truck stick guy. He can go play that money backer role that they're probably going to play him. I think he's like 6 foot, 6'1", like 210. He's a friggin' tank. So that's good for the Cowboys. Much needed versatility to that sorry defense. They got the new defensive. Wasn't Dan Quinn the coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's why.
Former coordinator of Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Coach.
He was a Falcons coach too. Maybe the ties there. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But overall, I like that signing for the Cowboys a lot. They didn't have a lot of money to make moves, but the moves that they did make, they didn't have a single safety on the roster, I don't think, that we knew their name. So it's a good signing. And then for the next team, we're moving on to the New England Patriots. Touched on most of the guys last week, but they bought in David Andrews, 4-year, $19 million contract. Bought him back, great signing. He's a Patriot for life, love the guy. Then we got Kyle Van Noy back. Dolphins cut him. We got him for about $6 million a year, 2-year, $12 million contract. Good signing. He was great for under Belichick and McDaniels and Robert Kraft before. Signed for big money, got cut, bought him back. We need to help on the defense, so it's a perfect signing for us.
Yeah, I like the signings. Bring back 2 Patriot guys. See if they can get back to playoffs. But
Go Birds, baby.
It's going to lead us to the next. The Chicago Bears. They got Russell Wilson. Just kidding. They signed Andy Dalton to a 1-year, $10 million deal, and they basically already promised him the starting role. So, good for them. I don't know why they didn't keep Mitch Trubisky, who's now a backup to Josh Allen. I'm not sure why he did that. I guess to learn from Josh Allen, whatever. But now they got their franchise guy in Andy Dalton. Good.
Yeah, they're cool. I think they have the best quarterback room in the league. Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, dude.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, that would have been okay.
Yeah.
But now they're both sorry. They suck. I don't care. They're both trash. They're garbage. They're both backups. Nick Foles especially is garbage.
Yeah.
And just the Bears suck in general. I don't know, dude.
Simple,
if you're a Bears fan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are sorry. All right. And the one from the AFC West that we did touch on, or the NFC West that we did touch on, Trent Williams, he was arguably the top free agent in the class, signed a 6-year deal worth up to about almost $140 million. I think 138 and 10,000 or something like that. Those are road numbers. They got their franchise left tackle for whoever their quarterback of the future is, whether it's Jimmy G or not. We touch on that more in the podcast, but I like the signing.
Yeah, I don't think there's much here to say. Locked up a solid left tackle, and that's pretty much it for me. So, next signing, the Raiders. Very questionable signing. They got Kenyon Drake, a guy who severely underperformed last year for expectations. Signed him to a 2-year.
Was he your second round pick?
I think it was second. Signed him to a 2-year, $14.5 million deal. Way too much money for a backup running back. You have so much capital in the running back position, which is a position that you shouldn't have much capital in at all. You got guys like Keanu Neal signing for 1 year, $5 million, and now you're going to go get Kenyon Drake, a backup running back, for 2 years, $14.5. Just don't make sense to me.
I'm not a fan of the signing. I think Kenyon Drake is sorry. Ryan loves him to death. He took him in the 2nd round of fantasy football. Enough said, really. But the next team talk about is the Giants. I think the Giants have had one of the most productive free agencies of any team.
Sadly.
Yeah.
For your Eagles and my Cowboys.
Yeah, for my Eagles. Gee, rats, man. But now they bought in Kenny Golladay, 4-year, $72 million deal. Kenny Golladay, I took him in the 3rd round of fantasy. Only played a couple weeks for me. But now I think it's a good signing. They finally got Daniel Jones, a true receiver 1 that's not named Golden Tate, which is good. It's good. It'll be good for his development, good for the team. Then they got, just about a couple hours ago, Adoree Jackson, 3-year, $39 million. Then they got John Ross, 1 year, $2.25 million. And then they bought in Kyle Rudolph. This is huge because their defense surprised a lot of people last year, so they still have a couple holes on defense to fill, but they've had a very productive offseason for the offense, really helped Daniel Jones. They're getting a healthy Saquon back. Offensive line's going to be healthy again. So Giants had a very productive free agency. I'm a big fan.
I mean, yeah, for me as a Cowboys fan, I'm going to kind of counter-argument a little bit. I like it, the Adoree Jackson signing. I'm cool with that. But Kenny Golladay, I mean, I saw Jason Garrett as the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, and I saw what he did when Dez Bryant was there, and every single time in the red zone, Dez Bryant got a fade. I'm telling you this right now. Every single time Kenny Galladay's in the end zone, they're throwing him a fade. Any team that doesn't guard that, it's happening. I don't care if they had we had Zeke and we were still throwing fades to Dez Bryant.
Kenny Galladay's nice though.
But for the other two, John Ross, I mean, it's too bad Daniel Jones can't throw it that far. And for Kyle Rudolph, he's going to benefit probably the most because he's going to catch a lot of 5-yard passes. Didn't mean to hate on Daniel Jones or anything. But moving on to the next team.
Dimes, baby.
Jared Cook signed with the Chargers for a 1-year, $6 million deal. Might be a little bit too much, but gives a weapon to Justin Herbert after losing Hunter Henry. Jared Cook's not a bad tight end, so I
think he's a downgrade from Hunter Henry. I mean,
he's a downgrade, but he should be cheaper.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it'll be good for Herbert. He likes to throw to his tight ends. He threw to Hunter Henry a good bit last year, so we'll see how that goes. Jared Cook's coming from the Saints. He was kind of a big part in that offense, so we'll see how that plays out. And then the next one, the Miami Dolphins bought in Will Fuller on 1 year, $10.6 million deal. It's a big signing for them. I think one of the positions Miami has lacked on offense is a true receiver 1. I like Devontae Parker, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he's that true elite separator that each team needs. I don't know if Will Fuller's that guy either.
I'm a huge Will Fuller guy. I think if injuries didn't happen, Will Fuller would be one of the best in the top 10 at least. I really like Will Fuller. I think he's a deep threat. I saw him in Houston with Watson and all them guys. Real deep guy. Not sure Tua can throw it that far, but that's to be seen. Yeah, but I mean, I like the signing. 1 year, $10 million, cheaper than Nelson Aguilar.
He'll get locked up by Gilmore and J.C. Jackson and the McCourty brothers and Jonathan Jones anyway. So.
And Nelson Aguilar will get locked up by any Dolphins corner, so it doesn't really matter. But that leads to your Philadelphia Eagles. Anthony Harris, the 1 year, $5 million
best
deal.
Safety in football. Got him. Steal of the century. 1 year, $5 million. Steal of the century. Best free agency signing ever. Go Birds.
The Dream Team's back?
The Dream Team's back. I got an Eagles hoodie on, so I'm going to sound like Eagles fans. We're going back to the Super Bowl. Anthony Harris is the answer. Jalen Hurts and Harry Roseman. All hail the Kings of Philly. They run it's their team. They're going to lead us back to the Super Bowl.
I mean, that sounds good to me, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on that one.
Go Birds, baby. And then the sorry Houston Texans.
Sorry.
Another sorry team right behind my Eagles. But they bought in Desmond King on a 1 year, $6 million deal. I don't know why. They bought in a lot of free agents. I don't know why guys want to go there. They suck. They're bad. They're a poorly run organization. And they bought in one of my favorite players throughout the league, Philip Lindsay, 1 year, $3.25 million. The reason I think Philip Lindsay went here, I mean, the running back room.
Playtime, maybe? Maybe,
but their running back room's crowded. They got David Johnson and Mark Ingram. Yeah. I mean, I'm still, though, it's like.
He's going to be the third down guy, I would assume, because David Johnson is falling off.
David Johnson's sorry.
But I don't like that sign. I mean, you got him for 3 years, or $3 million, which is fine. But if I was him, I would have went to probably Tampa for similar deal. I mean, I'm sure there's other teams that would have taken for that deal that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Better for him.
I didn't know if we got a reason. I know the Broncos did him dirty. We talked about it on a podcast last week, but I don't know why he chose the Texans.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But that's going to lead to the next team, and that is the Washington football team. Another team that's been pretty active in free agency. I'd like to start off with the biggest signing. It's Ryan Fitzmagic. Got into a 1-year, $10 million deal. Not sure why they're doing this. I mean, now you got Ryan Fitzmagic and Heineke. So, competitive QB room, I guess. Not sure. Also got Curtis Samuel, probably the second biggest, 3-year, $35 million.
I think that was their biggest one, dude. They needed a receiver too desperately. I don't even know who their other receiver was aside of Terry McLaurin.
They had what's his face from the Seattle Seahawks. He was good too. Paul Richardson.
Exactly. They
Anyways,
needed a receiver too.
I mean, I don't know. I think they might have overpaid for him a little bit. I mean,
Samuel, 35.
I mean, that's over $10 million a year. I don't know if he's that good. I mean, I remember him in Carolina just being kind of like a gadget guy. But anyways, the last one that they got, William Jackson, to a 3-year, $40 million deal. Pretty good signing.
Ronald Darby replacement. He's probably one of the better man corners in the league, so that was a good signing for them. Younger guy. I mean, their defense is going to be best in the league next year, the year after. They're on the upcoming rise, so be on the lookout for that. Which leads me to the next free agent signing, Boo Schuster, as Antonio Brown said. He went back to the Steelers for 1 year, $8 million. But no, I don't think this was a good decision at all. I guess he's trying to be loyal to Pittsburgh or whatever. I think the moment Pittsburgh drafted Chase Claypool, I think that was kind of them being like, all right, like JuJu's probably not coming back. JuJu turned down the deal to the Chiefs for more money and more years.
And the Ravens.
For more money, more years. I kind of see the Ravens, he's that, like, kind of like we were talking about, like Russell Wilson, he's like the good guy, like friendly, like all that. And he didn't want to go to the rival, but the Chiefs, the Steelers suck. They're not going to be good. They have no future whatsoever besides TJ Watt and the defense.
I think they're still a playoff team.
The AFC, I mean, I don't know, dude. The AFC's tough.
I mean, they're better than Bengals. That's 100%. They're still a playoff team, I think.
We'll see this year.
We will see this year.
But yeah, Boo Schuster, as Antonio Brown said, he produces pretty good in the offense. I mean, the Steelers' receiving room isn't terrible, but I'm just not a big fan of JuJu. I think he's sorry. But good signing for Pittsburgh, I guess. And I mean, good for him for staying loyal to his team.
Yeah, but I'm not much to say on that. But that's going to lead us to the Jets. They've been kind of patient in free agency, which I don't blame them. But, you know, they got Carl Lawson here, 3-year, $45 million deal, beefing up that defensive line a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with the slow approach because you find that teams that spend a lot of money at the start, a.k.a. the New England Patriots, they tend to overspend on players.
The Patriots.
Such as guys like Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar.
Well,
So if you wait later.
To trade for Kendrick Bourne like twice. I saw it today. They tried to trade for him
I don't care.
twice.
He's sorry. He's so bad. Anyways,
he's better than any receiver on the Dallas Cowboys.
Please.
It's like, nah, that was such a joke.
Yeah, I could tell. But I mean, I don't really have much to say on this. They're beefing up the defense. Might have overpaid them a little bit. Either way, I think it's a good signing to, you know, spend some money because you need a better team.
He's a lot better than the guy that Bengals signed to play defensive end, which we'll touch on in a little bit. I think it's a good signing for the Jets. I think the Jets are finally committing to try and be a good football team. They got Corey Davis, too. I think we touched on that last week.
Yeah, we did.
We touched on that Corey Davis signing last week. Corey Davis was the best receiver on that team automatically. Carl Lawson going to a pretty solid defensive line. I mean, the Jets were sorry last year, but the one good thing they had going for them was their defensive line. So to bring in an edge rusher like Carl Lawson, I think it's a huge help for them, huge help for the team. And then for the next team, the Minnesota Vikings, brought in Dalvin Tomlinson and Patrick Peterson, helped that defense. Dalvin Tomlinson, 2-year, $21 million. I don't know what the market is for a defensive tackle. Don't know if it's a lot of money or what. I like Dalvin Tomlinson, though. He'll be beefing up the middle of the line, stuffing the holes, helping against that run defense. It was terrible this year. The Vikings' run defense their defense all around was sorry, but their run defense was especially bad. And then Patrick Peterson, 1 year, $8 million deal. He's kind of washed now, I think. I mean, the Vikings have a pretty solid young cornerback core. They got Cam Dantzler and Jeff Gladney in the draft last year, who didn't play terrible this season, but I think Pat Peters is that nice veteran presence that could help them develop.
Yeah, I think that was, why they signed him, because I mean, just you're going to plug him in and probably play him, and he's going to be serviceable, and he can help out the young guys. So I think that was a good signing. And that's going to lead to the Jaguars. They had a lot of money too. Got Shaquille Griffin, I guess. But 3 years, $40 million. Pretty good corner. I like the signing.
Yeah,
and then they also got Marvin Jones to a 2-year, $12 million deal. I really like that because I think Marvin Jones is a guy who is very, what's the right word? Underrated as a wide receiver in the league. I mean, I think he's a pretty dependable guy. I think it'll be good for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, whoever it is.
Trevor Lawrence, #1 pick. If they don't take Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer and the GM and the owner should all get fired.
I think it's a good signing, though. I mean, he's kind of like that possession wide receiver, end zone type of guy. And there is reports of them possibly trading DJ Chark, which kind of confused on why they're doing that. So, but yeah, I can see why they brought in Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, especially Shaquille Griffin. They got a guy, CJ Henderson, in the first round to be that, and now he can finally take a step back and be that other boundary corner alongside of Shaq Griffin, which will be real good for his development. Look for him to take a huge step up from where he did last year this season. And then Ryan pretty much said it all about Marvin Jones. I like the signing. I think will be good for Trevor when he comes in and he can be that star quarterback for them.
Yeah.
And then the Bengals, as I touched on earlier, Trey Hendrickson, 4-year, $60 million. It's at about $15 million a year. Kind of overpaid. Most of his sacks were covered sacks or cleaning up from Cam Jordan's pressure on the other side. I knew he was going to get overpaid. I just didn't think it would be by the Bengals. The Bengals also bought in the guy from the Vikings. I didn't put it on my notes, Riley Rife, or I think that was his name, to be their left tackle. They had nothing on the left tackle. Jonah Williams put on the right. They bought him in. He went to dinner with Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, I think his name is. They bought him in, got their future left tackle so they can draft Penasul or Slater at 5th to play on the other side or interior. Who knows what they're going to do. They like their versatile linemen. They have a bunch so they can put them in different spots in the offensive line. They also bought in 2 corners to help that loss of William Jackson. They got Mike Hilton from Pittsburgh, 4-year, $24 million. He's a slot corner. He's real good playing a slot corner. The Bengals need that. And then they got Chidobe Awuzie from your Cowboys, 3-year, $21.75 million. That's a good signing. They needed help on defense. They need help in the secondary, so I think that was good. And they got him for pretty good prices too.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to keep Awuzie back in Dallas, but oh well. But that's going to lead to the next team, the Denver Broncos. Last week they brought in Ronald Darby. This week they brought in Kyle Fuller. For me, I mean, I think they're both good signings. Kyle Fuller to a 1-year, $9.5 million deal. I'm not going to mention much on how good he is because everybody knows he's a good corner. But I mean, all this really does is it creates a question mark on what the Broncos are going to do with pick 109.
Yeah, I don't know.
It also, I mean, I don't see them drafting a corner, so that's going to make it the Dallas Cowboys at 10. Any corner they want is probably going to be there, most likely.
Kyle Pitts.
Just
we talked about on the podcast, dude. If he's 4'6" at 6'5",
I doubt he's going to be there. I feel like Philly's going to take him. Your Eagles, but
go Birds, baby.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just kind of creates question marks on what the Broncos are going to do. I like the signing. I think they're going to take probably a lineman at 9 or a quarterback, but that's just me.
Don't think a quarterback falls past 8. If a team wants to trade up, they're going to have to jump the Panthers because I think that's who's going to take the last quarterback if it's there. But now Kyle Fuller, I really, really like the signing. It was good for the Broncos. They needed secondary. They had Ronald Darby and Michael Ojemudia, who's a rookie slot corner who played good for them last year. But outside of that, they have nothing. And then for our final team, the Carolina Panthers bought in Hassan Reddick, 1 year, $8 million, I think it was. That's lethal. They got Brian Burns on one side and Hassan Reddick on the other side. That's going to be nasty for offenses to try and block. I think it was a good signing for them. They got him on a 1-year deal for very cheap, addressed a kind of a position in need. They have another top edge rusher across from Brian Burns, so it's a big dub for the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree. They had to beef up that defense, and now they're starting to get the pieces together. See Jeremy Chin, Brian Burns, Hassan Reddick, Derek Brown. Starting to build up a good team defense, and I mean, it's always good to see.
Yeah, and that wraps up our free agent list. Cool.
That's going to wrap up this week's exclusive segment of the greatest podcast on turf. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to check out last week's video on free agency part 1 so you can see what we missed in this episode.
Yeah, don't forget, like the video, subscribe if you guys are new or whatever. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, keep showing us love. Next week, like I said, we got the greatest podcast on turf, Mock Draft 2.0 coming out. Might throw some trades in there. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I think it's definitely going to be way different than what we've seen before based off of free agency, all the different signings. Ryan gave the example about the Broncos. Don't forget to click the link in the description for the full podcast. We did the NFC West this week, Seahawks, Cardinals, Niners, and Rams. Got a little heated. You know how he gets about Matt Stafford and Pete Carroll and all that, so be sure to check that out. Keep showing us love, and we'll see y'all next week for the mock draft.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.